Hey there guys, it's CyberUltra here. Recently, there's been a lot of speculation that Nintendo is going to re-release some of Mario's classic 3D adventures, so I thought I'd take this as an opportunity to rank my top 10 favorite mainline Mario games. This means that spin-offs like Mario Kart and Mario Party won't be included. Keep in mind that this list is my opinion, which probably isn't going to be the same as yours. With that said, let's get into my top 10 favorite mainline Mario games. We've got none other than the revolutionary platformer itself. Mario had dabbled in arcade experiences in the past, but Super Mario Bros. Was the plumber's debut on Nintendo's first home console. And man, did it make a difference. This was the game that single-handedly saved the video game industry, and it still holds up to this day. The platforming still feels good, and it's got solid level design. When it was made, there weren't platforming tropes to go off of like there are nowadays, but it still managed to create compelling levels. Naturally, we're missing a lot of the features and design elements that are in the newer games, which is why it's only at number 10. At number 9, we have Super Mario Maker 2, the latest 2D entry in the series. It builds on the original in so many ways, but it also takes a couple of questionable steps backwards. In terms of content, this game is filled to the brim with it. The long-awaited slope tool finally made its debut, as well as other things I never thought I'd use when designing a level. The sheer amount of options given is incredible. However, the removal of amiibo costumes from the first game is huge, as those allowed for level designs previously thought to be impossible. Although the creation part of the game remains mostly amazing, I can't say the same about playing levels. There are way too many poorly designed levels that you have to dig through to eventually find something good, since the filters to find levels are so limited. Even though there are infinite levels to play, I find it a more enjoyable experience to play through a Mario game designed by the experts, and the pre-made courses in this game simply aren't enough to convince me to put this any higher on the list. Despite all of my criticisms, this game is still incredible. It has so many tools to create the Mario level of your dreams, and now, with the new World Maker update, it allows you to create an entire Mario game. It improves over the original in almost every way and is an excellent addition to the franchise's catalog. Super Mario 3D World is an incredible game to play with friends and on your own. It has a simple plot like most Mario games. The objective is to travel through different worlds in order to save the Sprixie princesses. It's really just an excuse to go on an adventure. A lot of the other games on this list are primarily single player, but this one manages to put together a really fun adventure that can be completed with friends. There are 5 unique playable characters. It features Mario, who has a basic moveset. He is a jack of all trades, master of none. And then there's Luigi, who has his high jumps but slippery controls. Toad is the fastest one of them all, but his jumps are lacking. And Peach is the complete opposite. She can float in the air for a brief period of time, but is also the slowest on the ground. The 5th and final character is supposed to be a secret, so I'll leave it that way. I'll just say that they're pretty cool too. The characters add a ton of variety to the gameplay, and it's especially fun to jump into a level with friends, which is something no other 3D Mario game provides at this scale. Speaking of 3D, the level design isn't really like your usual 3D Mario game. It plays more like a 2D Mario game in a 3D environment. It has tons of variety in its level design, since the game is split into different levels. One of my favorite parts of this game are the boss fights, which were a joy to play through. Although it wasn't the open world 3D Mario game that everyone was wishing for, it provides fun in its own unique way, and I can't really knock it for trying to do that. Super Mario Bros. 3 is definitely one of the harder games on this list, and it innovated in so many ways. Although most people are sick of having a world map with 8 worlds, it was a fresh idea when this game was released. The main draw for me is the addition of new power-ups. Although they had existed before, this game greatly expanded upon the idea. The Tanuki leaf controls really well and is a blast to use. For a very long time, it was the only Mario game to feature this power-up, so I was really glad to see it finally return in future entries. On top of its gameplay, this game stands out to me as the first mainline Mario game to have a really good soundtrack. Although they're still your standard NES tunes, these ones were really catchy and added to the experience of playing through this game. It's honestly shocking to believe that this game is on the exact same hardware as the original Super Mario Bros., because it just improved the formula that much. Oh boy, time to disappoint a lot of people. At number 6, we've got Super Mario 64. I know this one is a fan favorite, but hear me out. I understand that it paved the way for every single 3D video game to ever be released, but I just think that the other games on this list are better. That isn't much of an insult to Super Mario 64, it's more of a compliment to the other games because this one is really good. It prioritizes exploration like no other game that had come before it. Searching for collectibles in a 3D environment is really fun, and for many years, there was simply no Mario game that was able to capture the fun of playing a 3D platformer in a sandbox environment. I love that despite picking a mission whenever you enter a world, you have the option to explore and find completely different stars within that mission. Is your objective to find 8 red coins? Well, you can just say screw it and decide to find a hidden star inside of a wall instead. That's the magic of this game. Despite having extremely well-designed missions, you can explore the worlds as you see fit. Of course, you can't talk about Super Mario 64 without mentioning the speedrunning scene. Although you can play the game normally, there are tons of speedrunning categories that exploit the different mechanics of this game. Another area in which it excels is the variety in the world design. Locations have their own living, breathing world as well as unique gimmicks. It's a revolutionary game that still holds up to this day. Arguably the most divisive game in the franchise, it's Super Mario Sunshine. Personally, I'm one of the people who love this game. The first thing that's unique about this game is the story. Most Mario games follow a simple formula, but this one has Mario get wrongfully convicted of a crime that he didn't commit, and he's required to get to the bottom of what's going on in Isle Delfino. The weirdest part is the voice acting, which definitely isn't a staple of the Mario franchise. It immediately makes itself different from its predecessor and is a really enjoyable experience. I personally love the level design. The game does an excellent job of establishing a sense of setting which no other Mario game does as well. Although others have completely unique worlds, this one has a single setting of a tropical resort and has different types of worlds within that one singular setting. Whether you're exploring a hotel casino on the beach or fighting Petey Piranha in Bianco Hills, it's always a part of the single connected world. A great addition to the platforming and level design is Flood with his different nozzles. He can spray graffiti, make Mario hover, and even more thanks to the nozzles available in this game. For me, it made the platforming a lot more interesting, but I have to admit, the game definitely has its flaws. Instead of having a full 120 collectibles like other games, 24 of the shines in this game are acquired by trading in blue coins, which are scattered across the world. Those aren't really good replacements for proper collectibles and took away from the experience for me. There are also some really frustrating levels that just weren't enjoyable. Difficulty is good, but some of them were just straight up not fun. Although flawed, Super Mario Sunshine is an excellent game and is one of my personal favorites in the franchise. Of all side-scrolling Mario platformers, my favorite has got to be Super Mario World. Although Super Mario Bros. 3 expanded upon the formula more, this game vastly improved it. It has the most responsive controls out of the original Mario platforming games and is a joy to play through. The biggest flaw that I saw in the game is the difficulty, which is definitely easier than Super Mario Bros. 3. Other than that, I think that this game took what that one had to offer and made it a more enjoyable experience. This game features Yoshi, who's able to gobble up fruits and help Mario make difficult jumps. Seriously, I can't count the number of times I've thrown Yoshi into a bottomless pit in order to recover from a bad jump. The music is also really good in this one, giving off a cheerful feeling to the player. It's definitely the most polished side-scrolling Mario game. At number 3, we've got the latest entry in the 3D Mario series, Super Mario Odyssey. After 20 whole years, fans finally received the proper sequel to Super Mario 64 that they had dreamed of. Mario Odyssey once again brings the focus back to exploration, and the entire game is designed around it. Everywhere you look, there are purple coins and moons, the main collectibles of the game. You're encouraged to try new approaches to your exploration, all while still jumping around in a 3D environment. The amount of movement options is ridiculous, providing tons of ways to make difficult jumps. The kingdoms in this game are incredible, and for the first time in the franchise, it feels like the world isn't created simply to reach a goal, but rather to explore. In order to move on from a world, you're required to get a certain amount of moons. It allows you to go at your own pace and unlocks more and more worlds as you go. The best part is that once you're done with the main story, the game throws a couple new worlds at you, as well as adds many more moons to levels you've already gone through. My favorite is New Donk City, which puts Mario into a city environment for the first time. Odyssey sets itself apart from other Mario games by introducing tons of new characters and environments. Instead of having a regular, generic lava world, its lava world is a kingdom themed around lunch. That's one of the many risks it takes. The only flaw I see are the story missions. These are similar to the stars and shines collected in previous 3D Mario games. They're significantly worse this time around, which makes the adventure itself leave more to be desired. Despite the strengths this game has, I wish that it was able to make the main missions more impactful. Something else missing from this game is a hub world. The kingdoms are really well designed, but I would have liked to see a hub world that tied everything together, like in Mario Sunshine or Galaxy. This game is so close to being the best, and only needs a few more things to make it perfect, which is why I'm really hoping that it receives a sequel. At number 2, we have Super Mario Galaxy 2. The sequel to Galaxy uses the exact same engine as the original game and explores plenty of new ideas. This is made possible due to the huge variety of galaxies. While other Mario games have a few worlds to complete, this one has tons of galaxies with bite-sized missions to go through. Some highlights for me include Fluffy Bluff Galaxy, Cosmic Cove Galaxy, and Grand Master Galaxy. If I were to name all of the galaxies I enjoyed, I'd just be reading through a list of every single one in the game. Although I normally prefer exploration over linear level design, this game pulls it off so well that I ultimately decided to put it above Odyssey. It feels much more grand as an experience and provides tons of missions that actually feel like their own adventures. There isn't a single level in the game that doesn't feel complete, which is what makes it so good. There are less movement options in this one, but the variety of levels and power-ups make up for it in full and prevent it from getting too complicated. The game feels like it knows its strengths and is made to highlight them. Galaxy 2 also has one of the best soundtracks in any Nintendo game, period. There are unique songs for many of the levels, and each song does an excellent job of capturing the setting. I like the progression of the game and how it throws new types of levels designs at you all the time. It isn't just variety for the sake of variety, but instead, to provide an engaging experience. This is one of the best 3D platformers ever created. Speaking of one, at number 1 we have Super Mario Galaxy 1. You probably saw this coming, considering the last section. I already went through what makes Galaxy 2 great, and just about everything I talked about in that section applies here as well. My personal favorite galaxies in this game include Gusty Garden Galaxy, Space Junk Galaxy, and Toy Time Galaxy. Just like I said for Galaxy 2, I like all of the galaxies in these games, so saying which ones are my favorite is difficult, as they all bring something unique to the table. That's what makes both Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 so good. It isn't just a game that's fun sometimes. The consistently high quality level design creates an experience that's a joy the whole way through. Although Galaxy doesn't have as many movement options or the level of exploration that other 3D Mario games have, they're still a blast to play through. Everything I've said up to this point applies to both games. So what exactly is it that makes the original better than Galaxy 2 for me? Well, there are a few reasons. Firstly, I like the hub world a lot more. Having the Comet Observatory slowly get more and more power was a lot better than Starship Mario from the sequel. Secondly, the atmosphere in the first game is a lot better. The second game is a lot more bright and cheery and has a cheerful soundtrack to boot. Although the first game still has some of this, its tunes and levels give off the feeling of a grand adventure through space, and at times also give me the feeling of isolation, which I think is more suited for a game based on space. I think the second game ignored that aspect too much and reverted back to what felt like a normal Mario game that doesn't take many risks. This can be seen on the very cover of both games. In Galaxy 1, you were actually in space, while Galaxy 2 had a lot more generic sky backgrounds. Something else that added to the atmosphere was the plot itself in the first game, which featured an entire backstory for Rosalina. Considering all of the lore, I think it has the best plot out of any mainline Mario game. Galaxy 2 was more of a dumbed down version and a retelling of the same plot with lots of missing details. Although it's still an incredible game, it felt a lot more like a level selector than an actual adventure. Lastly, I'll talk about the note each game ended on. I think there's such a thing as too much content, and Galaxy 2 is definitely an example of it. The Green Star missions that are unlocked after beating the main story and bonus world are a complete bore, and felt like a waste of time. The levels in the game were clearly not designed for exploration, so having those types of stars in linear levels didn't work out well in my opinion. Don't get me wrong though, both of these games are incredible, which is why they're number 1 and number 2 respectively on my list of my top 10 favorite mainline Mario games of all time. And that's the end of my list. This was my first video on this channel, so I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm planning on continuing to make videos just like this one, stuff like reviews, top 10s, and discussions on new Nintendo information. Make sure to leave your own list in the comment section below, cause I'm interested in hearing what other people have to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.